Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a 2023 bride, and I'm going to take you start to finish on how I DIY'd my wedding florals with flower Moxie. So to start out, when my fiance and I first got engaged, we really quickly took a look at our budget and realized that we were going to have to keep some costs pretty low. So one of those ended up being florals. We went to a few vendor fairs and a few bridal shows, and one of the florists who was there, she had this beautiful mantelpiece. She was very, very talented, and we immediately got quoted $1,000 simply for that one mantelpiece. We kept getting really high quotes that we weren't going to be able to afford personally. And so to be able to get a really beautiful and bold and large floral look, we really quickly realized that we were going to have to DIY them if we wanted to meet that goal. And so I really quickly started researching. I found a few different places who did DIY packages and ended up on Flower Moxie's website. I loved their palettes and all that they offered. They had different packages, and it looked like it was really easy to customize if you needed. One thing that really got me though was I found out that they're able to do custom designs, which I did. I got the basic package, which was $35, and honestly, it was the best $35 that I probably spent on my wedding. It was so nice. Basically, we had a few different pieces, a few more bridesmaids than what a lot of their packages would make, small things like that that I still wanted to not cut out. So I set up the custom call. I was able to send over all my inspiration pictures and other details that I was going to need, such as my table count, how many bridesmaids, bouquets, etc., etc. And then Jess, my personal flower consultant, called me up. She had over 10 years of flower experience or something like that. And she went through every detail that I would need. It was so cool. I got to hone in on some really personal details. For me, I grew up in Oregon, which is a very green and luscious place. And so I really, really wanted ferns in my flowers all over. It was gonna make me feel right at home. And she said, we can make that happen. Additionally, I'm getting married in Texas, so it's gonna be a nice 95 degrees out on my wedding day. So a few things that I asked were that we would only have really hardy blooms, which she was really quick to answer and make sure that happened. There was a few flowers that I was like, this is really pretty, and she said, absolutely not, it'll wilt really quickly. So it just gave me such a peace of mind going into my wedding. I eventually got the email back from her. It was about 2 weeks later, and I had a full custom design package with recipes for every single arrangement that I needed exactly for my wedding. So it was nice because instead of trying to slowly kind of fit those little pieces in, it was exactly formed and custom to what I really needed. Basically, in the end, she came in under budget, which was actually so nice. That was one of the first things that we talked about in the call. She came in under budget of what we had wanted to order. So it gave me the peace of mind being able to add in a few extra bunches of flowers, just because I'm a nervous person who was like, okay, if anything goes wrong, then we'll have a little bit extra to just throw in, make it a little prettier, fill everything out just a little bit more in case we need. Quick note, after my wedding, this is married me, okay? A custom design is a great option for anyone who isn't quite sure if they actually do want to do their own florals, because you only have to invest that $35 and then you can still get a really good glimpse of what it's actually going to take to do your flowers. So this was probably the best $35 that I spent on my wedding. I can't say that enough. And if you don't know where to start, this is where to start, because you'll just get everything laid out straight for you and everything else is a breeze, I promise you. So got the email, got the custom design. Also, right after that, my cart was completely built for me. I didn't have to go and add them by myself. I literally just clicked the cart and then clicked and paid for it. And so my order went through. So the wholesaler was the safest option. That's what they talked about in the checkout thing. It's just what I chose to do because it was very convenient and easy for me. So I'm excited to do that. I'm actually gonna get to go with my dad right before. So that's a sweet moment that I'm also gonna get to be able to spend with my dad days before the wedding. So I'm really excited about that. So a few things that I've done to calm my nerves is Flower Moxie really recommends going and buying grocery store flowers and just making some arrangements. Flower Moxie has a million tutorials about literally everything, about all the prepping, different centerpieces, different bouquets that you can do. They have so much stuff. I practiced centerpieces with my mom, and the more I practiced, the more I realized the statement, it's just a flower, it'll literally always look pretty. I could not recommend this statement more to anyone who's doing their own flowers. It's really easy to get caught up in that wanting it to be perfect, wanting it to be perfection. It's a flower. It's gonna look so pretty no matter what. Obviously, florists bring so much unique design and a lot of expertise in that. If I had the money, I absolutely would spend it on a florist, but this was definitely the right option for me, as I'm able to get that really big floral statement look without the price tag of it. I will now be going into my wedding weekend, which I'm so excited about. You'll see me picking up the flowers. You will see me prepping the flowers. You'll see us arranging the flowers. You'll see how I threw my petal party. You'll see us transporting the flowers and the final look. So you'll go through all the emotions with me and see what it actually takes to do it by yourself and if it really is for you. Okay, on to the actual execution of picking up, prepping, and putting together all the flowers. Our pickup day was Wednesday before the wedding. We showed up at the Dallas wholesaler American Agro, and from the outside it was a little unassuming. I went with my dad, which was such a fun and sweet time to get to spend with him because other than the rehearsal dinner, I really didn't get to see him that much during the weekend. I brought my printed out order, so I was able to double check everything, and going in, it was so pretty with all the floral supplies they had everywhere. The people in front of us were actually also picking up an order from Flower Moxie as well, which was really sweet. And within a few minutes, a very sweet representative came up and helped us out. And they had already sectioned off our order and walked us through everything that they had out. Something actually got slightly mixed up in our order. Flower Moxie was on top of it. All I had to do was shoot them an email and they figured it out within like 10 minutes, and then it all got fixed and we were ready to go right after that. The wholesalers were so nice. They packaged everything up and then also helped us carry it out and put it into our car. These boxes were really big and actually kind of heavy with all the flowers in them. So that was sweet. They obviously didn't have to do that, but they really cared about their customers. It was a lot of longer boxes and actually fit perfectly in our car. Here you can see me in front of it. I was so excited. And so right after that, we started headed home and getting ready to prep our flowers. Once we got home, we started right away. We started unboxing and prepping, meaning we snipped, stripped, and started soaking all of the flowers. We made sure to get all the lower leaves off. Thanks to the hydration calculator that Flower Moxie provides, we had the buckets ready to go for each type, and they worked perfectly. It really did turn out to be, we used every single bucket perfectly, so that was awesome. And then I had watched literally all of the Flower Moxie prepping tutorials and just verbally explained what to do to my dad. They also sent us home with this little reminder card on all of these instructions, which was super helpful for him to read over. We worked for about an hour on this and didn't get through it all until later in the night when I had picked up some of my bridesmaids from the airport and we finished up the rest really quickly. And once we were done, I was completely obsessed and finally like excited for everything. Pickup was probably one of the things that I was most nervous about. We went through all the buckets on Thursday and switched out the water just to make sure that it was fresh and clean with no leaves in there. That was really all the maintenance that we had to do on Thursday. Right before we went to bed, one of my bridesmaids and I made a test centerpiece, so we were more prepped the next day for designing with everyone, and everyone could actually see the final product image. For our design day, we threw a petal party where I invited all the women who were already in town for the wedding to come help out and make the arrangements with us. Honestly, this party turned out to be one of my favorite memories from the entire wedding weekend. So the whole point of making it into more of like a party instead of just like grinding all the flowers out, I really didn't want the whole experience to be super stressful, so this made it so much more fun and intentional and a great time to hang out with all these women right before the wedding. Before the party actually started at 10 a.m., we put together the mechanics of all the flowers, so that was going to primarily be for the centerpieces, the really low profile bowls with flower foam in it and tape across to keep it secure. This was really quick. All my bridesmaids were in the same Airbnb, so really quickly we just popped those together. Additionally, we had foam floral cages for our bigger arrangements. As we started the party, my maid of honor handed out different cards that had little flower names on them, and this actually created my bridal bouquet. It was the recipe for it. So as we started, I announced that they all were going to go pick the best bloom of the flower that they had on their own card and come and hand it to me. This was so sweet. I got to spend a moment with everyone who was there. They handed me the flower, and I got to put that together in my bridal bouquet and essentially carry everyone down the aisle with me. I loved getting to do it. It was just a sweet little personal touch. When I got all the flowers, I actually set them to the side for later. I ended up putting together my bridal bouquet very last. I'm very glad that I did this because it allowed me to have a lot of experience with all the flowers and not be as stressed of making it look really pretty. Once I put those aside, we started right on centerpieces. Everyone who was making a centerpiece sat around this big table, and then there was a few girls who were bringing all the blooms of the recipes to the people at the table. This made it so there was a lot less traffic, and it made it really simple because there were so many people there. It was great because then I was kind of showing everyone how to do it. We went with starting out and greening out the centerpiece, kind of making the bush that the flowers were gonna sit in, and then we brought the more filler flowers, so things like carnations and palms, and put those in. And then to finish them off, we put in the more statement pieces like roses and ranunculuses. The way that we set this up worked really well because everyone was able to bounce off of everyone's ideas and kind of see that everyone's was taking form the same way. It's hard to get a feel for what it looks like starting, but once you get to the end, it looks really luscious. Look, here's my grandma even making her own. She was so precious. This is a video that I will hold near and dear to my heart for the rest of my life. And if she could do it, then so can you. We had 16 centerpieces to make, so with everyone making 1 or 2, it went by really quickly. Once I was done with showing them how to do it, I moved over to corsages and boutonnieres. This was perfect for the ladies who were a little more nervous about putting together flowers, but still wanted to be involved. These were so simple. I just gave them really quick steps and we made them. They got to go through all the other ones really quickly and they looked so sweet. It was nice getting to actually make my own husband's little boutonniere. It was just sweet. Once I saw him on the wedding day, I was like, I put that together for you. I don't know, I'm a very sentimental person if you can't tell. My bridesmaids bouquets were single type flower bouquets. So like one had all roses, one had all snapdragons, one had all carnations. And so it was really easy for them to put their bouquets. They kind of did it at their own pace. The recipes came with how many blooms of each of them to actually do it. So that was really simple for them to do quickly. Not really anything like super scheduled out. It was just when they had a free moment, they went and grabbed the flowers that they wanted. At the end, we had our last 4 larger arrangements to put together. We had 2 aisle slash ceremony pieces, and then we had 2 really large mantle pieces that we were making. We started with the smaller ceremony pieces. These were really easy to put together after doing the centerpieces because we had kind of the idea of what to do in mind. We followed the same tactic of greenery, filler flowers, then more delicate statement flowers. And it worked out really quickly. It took a little bit longer, obviously, to fill them out, but having teams of 2 where there was 2 ladies and 2 ladies doing it made it really efficient. We then, right after that, did the big mantle pieces the same way. Once we finished those really big pieces, those 2 big mantle pieces actually went with one of the friends who was at the party, and she took them home and brought them to the venue the next day. They were our biggest things to transport, so that was a huge blessing that she got to do that. Once everyone was gone, my bridesmaids helped pick up really quickly. And then I got to my bridal bouquet. Again, I'm glad that I waited till the end because it allowed me to have kind of just the flow of actually putting flowers together. I did kind of the mirror method where I stood in the mirror. And then also we had leftover flowers. We knew that we were bringing some to the venue for bud vases. We didn't end up, or our bud vases got misplaced and they ended up at my husband's Airbnb rather than my Airbnb. So the next day when we were actually at the wedding, we just put together the bud vases really quickly. We brought all the blooms that we needed for it in an extra bucket and it wasn't hard to transport or anything. In between about 15 people at the petal party and having plenty of snack breaks, all around it took about 3 hours. That's how long our party lasted. The last hour was really just doing those bigger pieces with 4 people. So I'm glad that I had plenty of people to help out with the centerpieces. Many hands make for light work. That is so true. Everyone had a blast while they were there as well. So that night I went to bed and the next day it was my wedding day. The thing that I really had to worry about that day was transportation. It was one of the things that I just really didn't have a lot of time to plan out before. Those 2 big mantle pieces had already been transported, so what we had to take care of that morning was our ceremony pieces and then all the bridesmaids bouquets in my bouquet. We put the boutonnieres in just like a little container from HEB. It was really easy. And those all went into one hatchback, and then the other car that was going was mine. It's my tiny little Saturn Ion, and the trunk was completely full of all of our centerpieces. It was so funny just like seeing this. It was like a little garden in the back of my trunk. I loved it. What we did right before we left was emptied out all the water, and right as we brought everything in, we just went around and rehydrated everything. Setup was pretty quick. We just plopped them on all the tables. Like I said, we had a few bunches that we had to make bud vases the day of. That went really smoothly, and then we had extra flowers to actually use and give to my photographer for all the detail photos, so that worked out really nicely. Here are the final wedding day photos. I think they look amazing. My photographer did a fantastic job at capturing these. I absolutely loved how my flowers actually looked day of. I couldn't have imagined it to go more well, honestly. I had so many nerves and kind of like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And seeing them now, I'm like, man, that was so fun. I wish I could do it more often. I personally love how my bridesmaids bouquets looked all together. They were really cohesive and just like so precious. Here's my big bridal bouquet. The only thing that kind of like went wonky was my little snapdragon started to droop a little bit. It was a very hot day in Texas. That is okay. Out of everything to go wrong, I'm really okay with that. My centerpieces, here is kind of my tablescape. I think they just looked so gorgeous, honestly. My ending statements are, if you are nervous about trying to start or figure out what you want to do for your wedding flowers and you're thinking of DIYing them, go do the custom call, please. It was so worth it. Again, even if you're just like, I don't know if I want to actually do it, this is a great way to invest and kind of have a blame-free call with an actual florist, because they'll still build your cart for you, but if you don't end up using it, that's okay, because you'll have a better understanding of what you want it to look like. If you have any questions about my experience, feel free to ask and we will get the best response that we possibly can to you. Good luck with your wedding day or event. You're gonna do amazing. You can do it, I promise you. It is so fun to get to do your own wedding florals.